Menochos, Daf Ayin Dalid, Amud Aleph. We're starting from 12 lines in the bottom. Masechta Menochos. And Rab Shimon says, here we go. Rab Shimon Ayva, Minchas Chayta Shel Kahanim. When a Kohen who sinned brings a mincha, the halacha is that he also has to do a kmitza, even though everything goes on the mizbeach. But Rab Shimon says it's broken up into two parts. One is done with a fistful that's put on the mizbeach, and the shirayim of the mincha is also placed on the mizbeach to be burnt. In fact, because the Rabbanan say no, if both parts have to be burnt on the mizbeach, we don't have right. We take the whole thing, we put it on the mizbeach. In fact, from where do we know this? That we break it up into two parts. As the Gemara, the Talmud we learned in the Brayse. It says by minchas chayta, v'hisla kohen ka mincha. It should be to the kohen like a mincha. So the Tanna Kama here says, what does he come to teach you? Shetehei avidasa ksheirabai. That the kohen who sinned, he himself can bring the come to be mechaper on himself, even though it's not his mishmar. He can bring it for himself. You're saying that's what the limit is, that he could do the avodah himself on his own sin, to be mechap on his own sin. Or maybe it means maybe the limit is a different one. To be mate kahanim, to eat the shiarim and kaschayim shel kahanim, to live that by a minchas chayta of a kohen, that the kohen gets to eat the shiarim.
Well, the same kohen.
Other kahanim and himself, yeah. How do so says Gemara? That's impossible. So because the pasuk says v'chol minchas kohen kolil tiyeh lo yisachel. It says every minchas kohen is completely burnt on the mizbeach. How could you have a havamina to say that the shiyarim, the leftovers, can be eaten by the kohen? Says Gemara, that's by minchas nadavi and nidvasa shel kohen. That's only if it's a mincha that a kohen brings as a nadava, he doesn't get to eat the shiraim. Kolol to ya. Avol chaybasei, a minchas chayta which he's obligated to bring. Tein nechelas. I might have said that he does get to eat the shiraim. Why not for ket? A nadava. When you're giving a nadava, you're giving it all to Hashem. By a chayta, you're forced to give it. So you're forced to give the part. Huh? Chayta is a sinner.
A sinner.
Yeah.
Did you see the new one?
So he says, Talmud Leima comes the pasuk and says, "V'hisla kohen kamincha makish chayvase." That's why we have the extra pasuk. V'hisla kohen kamincha, that a kohen who sins is like a mincha of a regular Yisrael. Makish chayvase linidvase. We compare a kohen. I'm sorry, not like we compare like a mincha of a nedava of a kohen. That just man it was in the chelas, just like the nadava of a kohen when he gives a nadava, he doesn't get to eat the shirayim. It goes all to Hashem. Ain't in the chelas. So too, a mincha which is brought as a chayta, as an obligation, he also does not get to eat the shirayim.
How come we don't say reach the Hashem over here? The
kmitza by
usually
some is it depends. Yeah, yeah. That's only if you have levena with shemen. Yeah, then it has a good smell. Oh, but Rabbi Shimon said, "Does it say in the pasuk it should be to the kohen like his own mincha, like the mincha of Nadava?" It doesn't say like the kohen's mincha. It says mincha. It says in general like a mincha, even of a Yisrael that brings it. It says rather he's coming to compare minchas chayta shel kahanim to minchas chayta shel Yisrael. He's coming to tell you that a minchas chayta of kahanim
the same thing
brings like a minchas chayta of a yid. Ma minchas chayta shel Yisrael nikmetzes, just like a mincha that a regular Yisrael who sins, there's kmitza, so too. A mincha of a kohen who sinned, there's kmitza. Says Gemara, if you're already comparing it to a Yisrael's mincha, a Yisrael who sins, who brings a mincha, have a kash, ima minchas chayta shel Yisrael, nikmetzes v'shiyera nachol. It says by a mincha from a yid, a Yisrael, a regular Yisrael, that brings a mincha for his sin, the shirayim go to the kahanim. Af minchas choyte shel kahanim nikmatz v'shira nacholin. We should say the same thing about mincha of a kohen who sinned. The shiraim should be eaten.
And what happens to his?
We said no. By a kohen, it's all burnt. Talmud Lema la kohen kamincha. What does it mean? La kohen means la kohen like the avodah, the same avodah that's
By
done by a
Yisrael.
Yisrael. That same avodah that's done by a kohen, which is the kmitza.
But eating this.
But it goes on the fire by kamincha. The loyla ishim. What goes on the fire? That's not. It's not like kohen.
By
That's.
Yisrael.
It doesn't say ishe kamincha. The fire of a
Kohen.
of a kohen is like the fire. Whatever goes on the fire by
Yisrael.
Yisrael. It says only like kohen. So it's only the avodah of the kohen is the
Zero
same.
mincha that there's no kmitza? Zero mincha?
So here minchas chayta, there's an argument. Reb Shimon is the one that says you do need a kmitza separately. But the abundance say, what are you talking about? Everything is burned. We just throw the whole thing on. We don't make.
But other minchas, there is kmitza?
What? Other minchas always kmitza. Okay. Says Gemara. So it says v'loy loyishin kamincha. Okay, so how is that possible? So he says kaimet kariv alamas be'atzmai. The kmitza is done separately. Now shiraim came be'atzmai, and the shiraim is separately brought. So that's the makar. So this says Gemara. You just said the Chachamim said. What do we learn now from La Kohen Kamincha? That the Kohen who sinned, he himself could do the avodah to be forgiven. In fact, the Gemara Hashatei avodah sixsheda bayi. This the limud that the Kohen himself could bring a kapara for his own sin. He learns it out from the Kohen Kamincha. We learn it out from a different pasuk. Menayin the Kohen. Shebo umaka kabanayis the chol eis v'chol shosha yitzah. How do we know that a kohen who comes to be makav his kabanayis, he can bring it at any time that he wants? Talmud lema ubechol uba bechol avas nafshay v'sheiris. He can come whenever the heart's the bill, what desires, and he can come and serve. So he can jump in front of the line too. So even if it's not his mishma, and people are waiting in line,
He could jump in.
he has the, what do they call the special pass, the first class service.
IPM.
Special service, whatever.
VIP.
VIP, yeah. Oh. Okay, good. In fact, you want to eat Hasab says you want if you're learning from there, from the whole Avos Nashim Shedis, you learn that the Kohen can do his own Aveda. How about, I would have thought Hani Mili Dav Sheinu Alchet. Only on what kind of a mincha could he go and jump and do the Aveda first, like a Shlomim or a Teida, not a Dafka mincha, but a Shlomim or a Teida, which is not coming for to forgive on a sin. So Taki comes first. He's sinning. You don't get first VIP service when you sin.
It has to be
Hey,
the
so you stand in the back of the line, like and stay online. I would have thought not. So Kamashmalan, that's what the pasuk of Lakoin Kamincha tells you. No, he could jump in front of the line.
He's still a coin.
He could. How do you say it? He could eat. He could eat the. What is he eat the cake and whatever, something like that.
You can have your cake and eat it.
Yeah, he can have the cake and eat it. He can sin and go there and have VIP
Why does he
too.
get such a special dispensation?
He's a kohen.
He's still a coin.
Yeah, he's a priest. Thank you. What about Hanami Mahachanafka? Says he wanted. This is where we learn it out from this pasuk, that he could go if he sins, he can go in front of the line from this pasuk of Lakoin Kamincha Mahasam Nafka. I learned it out from a different pasuk. It says V'chipa HaKoyin Ala Nefesh Asher Yigeges B'chata B'shgoga. So you have B'chata B'shgoga for nothing. It says V'chipa HaKoyin Ala Nefesh. A Nefesh means even the Koyin who sins. V'chipa the kapara. Malamet Shakoyim is kapara Yilei Atzmai. So you see, even on his own Nefesh he can be forgiven. Says Gemara Imahu. If I would have learned out only from that pasuk, B'chipa HaKoyin Ala Nefesh, Hava Amina Hani Mili only b'shoyik. Only if he did the sin by accident. Avo b'mezid. If he did it b'mezid, loy, then he doesn't go to the front of the line. Kamashmani he does. In fact, he might have b'mezid. Hey, kamashkachas. Somebody sins b'mezid with a carbon. I think that carbon. It's not talking carbon. It's kares. It's chreis. Well, where do you see that he brings?
What kind of sin here? What kind of
Oh,
sin?
so he says B'zdein Shvua, that he has Shvua Ha'edus. He knew Ha'edus, and he swore he doesn't know the Ha'edus. He could have helped somebody and say, this guy, he owes him the money. So I never saw it happen. It's gemacht nicht wissentlich. So for this, no, it's gemacht nicht wissentlich. He doesn't know. So on that, he was amazing. So he has to bring.
He did know.
He did know, so he has to bring a carbon. Now, Gemara brings a third opinion. Tanya, what do we do with the Shiraim? Till now, we said either the Shiraim, all of it is done as one. The Kaimetz with the Shiraim is one thing. Reb Shimon said we do Kaimetz separately, Shiraim burnt on the Mizbeach. And now we're going to learn a third opinion that the Shiraim is not put on the Mizbeach. It's put onto the ashes that was shoveled from yesterday's Kabbanis into the middle of his Mizbeach. He would spray it there. We're soon going to see where.
What's waste? Why do you touch this? No.
Well, you're not allowed to eat it, it says. But we're going to see a pasuk. He's going to bring a pasuk for it. Says, we learned another brayse. Reb Shimon Oimer. Reb Shimon says, let me just do it, okay? Reb Shimon says like this. Minchas choyte shel kahanim nikmetzes. A mincha of kahanim, there's a kmitza. V'hakoymetz karo b'fnei yatzmei, v'hashirayim kreim b'fnei yatzmei. So Reb Shimon said that the koymetz is put separately on the mizbeach to be burned, and the shirayim are put separately on the mizbeach to be burned. Okay. Now his son comes to argue. Rabbi Lezer, but Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Lezer, the son of Rabbi Shimon, hakoymetz karo v'atzmei. The kmitza yitaka put on the fire of the mizbeach. V'hashirayim is pazma beis hadeshen. And the shayim you sprinkle all over the ashes.
But can he agree with his father?
Ashayla. Well, we know when they came out of the cave, they both had different ways of thinking.
Yeah, so this
Rabbi Lezer was burning everything, and Rabbi Shimon was healing everything right away. They had to go back into the cave. Amar Rabbi Chiva Rabba had said, "Havi bar Rabbi Yechne is the shayla."
Are they buried together?
No, there's a whole story. Yeah, there's a whole story with Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer, his wife kept him up in the attic for 18 or 21 years. We learned something about it. And there was a worm that came out, and so because people hated him because he worked for the government. And the Ganovim, he had Ganovim hanged. Rabbi Lezer.
Oh, the government hated him.
No, the government loved him. He worked for the government. The Yidden hated him. Anyway, his wife kept him up in the attic. One time she saw a worm come out of his nose. His nose. So she was afraid. Okay, it's time to call everybody to get him, tell him that Rabbi Lezer's upstairs. Let's go bury him. Anyway, so
he died.
That was omen to death, Rabbi.
That was his deathbed. She said.
No, he was dead already many years, 21 years or 18. She kept him in the attic. Yeah, when she had a cholim. No, that was for being mizalzel. One of the Talmid Chachamim, that he wasn't that respectful. That's why, that was his whole punishment.
So he was there for 18 years in an attic?
Yeah. Later on, they took him. They had to do it fast, right before Yom Kippur. The Homeless Wedding came to Mo, and there was a big snake there. And
didn't let him
it stopped him, but he said it's Rabbi Lezer Reb Shimon, and then they moved. By the Eina call, I don't think he was able to be buried there. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Lezer, I think it was. Okay, anyways, I have to look back at the
Why did they want to bury him? Why the snake? Why the snake they wanted him should be buried?
They didn't want Mistama because of the zilzal that he did to Talmud Chacham.
What's a zilzal?
Embarrassing. He wasn't respectful.
That means embarrassing?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Okay, now you did. Let's go. Rabbi Chiva Rabba said, "Havi bar Rabbi Yechne is the shayla. Beis Hadesh nehicha." Which Beis Hadesh? Which pile of ashes that he placed the shiraim of the mizbeach? Id lamaylo. If you're talking about on the pile on top of the mizbeach that from the kabbanis from the day before they shoveled to the middle, says the Gemara, Hainu Avos. So he's saying exactly like his father Reb Shimon. You said Reb Lezer, but Reb Shimon says he argues. What is he arguing? Saying the exact same thing. Id lamata. Rather, you're going to talk about which.
His father said the macros.
On the fire. So it was on the fire. You put it.
So he's saying he puts it on to the side. No,
he put it on the coals.
Where does he mafazit it?
So he's mafazit. It's on the mizbeach. What's the difference over here? There. Idul Abata, if you're going to say it was where? It was on the pile that was outside Yerushalayim. Outside Yerushalayim, they would take the kabbanis that were apostle and burn the meat there. Says the Gemara, Yesh lechadava shekar lamata. Is there such a thing that you makriv the mekoymetz on the mizbeach and you take the rest outside Yerushalayim to the Beis Hadeshin? That's only for apostle kabbanis. Amalei Rabbi Abba Dilma perhaps leibut. It means no, there was no mitzvah of Aktara. The mitzvah was just the mitzvah has to be burned, and part of the condition is that the other part is destroyed. You have to destroy it like a pasla carbon. That's why it was brought outside the mizbeach. So the Bnei Yeshiva are laughing on Rabbi Abba. What is there such a thing? You take a carbon and a chelik from the carbon is destroyed. Where is such a thing? Yeah. No, yeah. This is an exception, he says. Kol minchas koyen, kol otiya, loy seyachel. It says loy seyachel means la'achila hi kashtiya. That the minchas achoyta of a koyen is compared to the minchas chavitin. That it wasn't eaten. Just like by minchas chavitin it wasn't eaten. But benegeya to the kolol part, that it has, there's a mitzvah of aktara, there was no mitzvah of aktara. So there was only a mitzvah to the kmitza, you should burn the kmitza, but the rest is leibut. And he compared it to minchas chavit. In fact, where do you see that? Where do you dash in such a pasuk? Look, this is how you have to dash in the pasuk. It says, kol minchas koyen, lo yisrachel. It says every mincha v'koyen, you can't eat it. He left out the words kol lil tokte. It has to be completely burned. But he doesn't say the words kol tokte. He skips. He says kol minchas koyen, lo yisrachel. That's going on a chayvasei. On a chayva v'koyen, that means a minchas chayta. You're lo yisrachel. There's only that you don't eat it, but you're not the shirayim, but you're not makte it. You're not burn it. You mispaz it, you destroy it. Kolol tiya, the words kolol tiya is the middle of the pasuk. He takes it out and he says kolol tiya is nidvase, which mincha has to be burnt, has a mitzvah, nochen kmitza. You also have to burn the shirayim. That's the nedava. Amalei Rava sakina charif hamafska. Zachel is going on the minchas chayta. On Chayvasei. On the Shrine, yes, on the Shrine, yeah. And he says the Kolol Tiyah is also going to the Shrine, but the mitzvah of Kolol, the mitzvah of Aktar, is only going on a Nedava. You took a sharp knife and you cut out the middle of the pasuk. Well, the pasuk goes like this: Kol minchas koyen, kolil tiyah, and then it says loisachal. So what did you do? You said Kol minchas koyen. You left out Kolotiyah, you stariz geschnitten, you put it somewhere else, and you said lo yisachel. So Rabbi says, "Schleitz psukim, was da scharfe Messer und stariz da passing away."
You have a good razor.
So he says, "Hello, Rabbi says, I learn differently. Kol minchas koyen is going on all menachos of the koyen, side minchas nedava and side minchas chayv. Kolotiyah, when it says kolotiyah, that's going on the mincha, which is a nedvasei, is a mitzvah of to burn it, and loy seyachel is misyaches to the mincha of chayvasei, of the mincha chayv. So now you don't have to cut anything. In fact, how do you know that the first one, when it says kolotiyah, that's going on the dava, and the chayv is the one that the shrine you spray. Maybe it's the reverse.
When you said lo yoichel,
yeah, lo yisachel means that it's sprayed. So how do you know lo yisachel is going on chayvasei? Maybe it's the reverse. Lo yisachel is going on minchas chavitin. So he says, mistabra, the first one you'll choose is something that has the most in common with the teichen of the pasuk, which is minchas chavitin. The minchas chavitin is a mincha that the kohen gadol brought every day in the morning and in the afternoon. So he says, the first one is a kav nedava. Why? It's shekain tadira. On a
Steady,
dava,
steady.
you could do it steady. You could do it just like the minchas chavitin. You bring every day. Number two, loy chati. A nedava is not brought for a sin. It's a charity. And besim reiche. And like you asked, reich nechayach. Besim reiche. This carbon mincha has a good smell because it has shaman and levina. Mashenchin a minchas chayta is nicht tedira. It's only when you sin. And even when you sin, it has to be oila v'yoyed. And the only time he'll bring a mincha is only if it's dali dalus. Only if he's very poor, then he gets to bring a mincha. That's number one. And a minchas chayta is dafka on a sin. You bring a minchas chayta, and there's no good smell. A minchas chayta is dry, no spice, no oil, so there's no good smell. Says Gemara Hadarabba, Chivas has more in common. Why? You should have included it. Shekain meisarein. It comes from one isarein. Masha'in kain, a kabna dava can come from shishim soyin. You remember that's one kli. Kol aroy lebila kibila dami. More than shishim is no good in one keli. So, but you see, you can bring a dava even shishim isarein. Number two, it's chayva. The minchas chavitin, you had to, the kohen was obligated to bring every day in the morning and in the afternoon. And minchas chayva is also chayva. Says Gemara, that's two. Hanach nafishin. The other one, you have three. You have sai tedira, sai loichati, that it's not brought on a sin, and besimreichen has also a good smell. Here you only have isaran and chayva. So three makes it more in common with minchas chavitin than two. And therefore, the first one is Nedava, which says, call it to you. You have to burn everything.
Yeah,
There's a mitzvah of Aktara. Yes.
Strict regulations. Was there anybody that monitored the code, guide them, to make sure they did everything properly?
The Kohen himself.
Like a check and balance.
Hashem was watching.
Okay, so Hashem was watching.
Absolutely.
Did they pay them nice salary?
They were afraid.
I just want to make
They
sure
got a
the
pension.
strict
They also got a
regulations.
pension.
Sure, I know you're working regulations. Everything has to be overwatched. Not in the Beis Hamikdash, you don't play games.
Gotcha.
Many Kohanim Gedolim, they weren't fit. He went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim and they died. They didn't live out the years.
Wow.
So you got to be careful. Says Gemara, Rabbanan, the Chacham will hold that a Minchas Chaytz Shel Kohen is, there's no kmitza. They don't have this whole drasha of loisa achel. There's a part that's burnt. There's kmitza part and there's a part that's sprayed. No such a thing. The Chacham say the whole Minchas Chaytz was burnt on the mizbeach. So what did they do? This whole drasha. Hi, called Minchas Kohen koloti loisa achel. The whole split. My of the lay. What did they do with that? And they didn't like. We learned in the Braisa.
What's the question about the Rabbanan?
Rabbanan don't split. I mean, that half is burned, and the second half is burned separately, or the second half is sprayed over the piles.
Yeah. So what's the Gemara asking?
So what do they do? So according to Rabbanan, they say one din that it's all burnt on the mizbeach.
So
What do you need this whole pasuk kolotiyah which splits the whole thing? We didn't like we learned in the Braisa. Meaning the first mincha that's mentioned amongst the Pesukim minchas chavitin, which is in the first pasuk, is bekolotokter. There it says befeirish that there's a mitzvah to burn the shirayim, and the tachtoina it only says belois hachel. When it comes to the other minchas, it doesn't say kolotokter. It says lois hachel. So Menayin liknas ham b'shol zeh b'zeh ham b'shol zeh b'zeh. How do we know about each one has a loisaseh? Yoivan a loisaseh and aseh. What's the loisaseh? Loisachel. What's the aseh? Kolotokter. You have to burn it. How do we know in the place where it says kolotokter that you also oivan loisachel? And how do we know by the minchas where it says loisachel you also over on kolotokter?
So this lotion is said by the different minchas. It says sometimes it says
kolotokter, and by the first one, and by all the other menachos, it says loisachel. So Talmud Lema kolil. It says kolil by chavitin, and it says kolil by other menachos. It doesn't say tokta by other menachos. It just says kolil. So l'gzeira shavit, make a l'gzeira shavit. Nemer kan kolil, nemer lahalan kolil. Ma lahalan. Just like by Minchas Chavitin, it says beferish Tokter, Bekolo Tokter. Afkan, even though it doesn't say Tokter, it's Bekolo Tokter. There's a mitzvah to burn it. Just says Kolo Tiya. You remember the passage before, call little T. I didn't say call little doctor. Come to tell you, there's a mitzvah b'aktara. And just like over here, by the other menachis, it says, hey, you're not allowed to eat it. But it doesn't say by minchas chavitin. He's telling you, he's come to tell you that even by minchas chayta, you're going to be over on the loisasa of loisachel. Boi Ravina. Ravina is the Shaila. Kohen sha'achal min ha'emurim. A kohen who ate from the kidneys and the skirted steak, he said it's the liver of the carbon behema.
He's not allowed to eat it.
Sure not. It says, but in the pasuk it says v'chol zar lo yachal bei. So how do we know a kohen? What's going to be by a kohen? Is he also over on the pasuk v'chol zar lo yachal b'kodesh?
You have to burn it.
You have to burn it. Lav the zaris. Is he going to be over on the lav of zaris because he's called a kohen? Says a kohen is considered as a zar when it comes to something that has to be dafka on the mizbeach. He's not mizbeach. He's kohen. Kohen is a zar. He's not called mizbeach. So he's just like any other zar, any other stranger that's not a kohen. Here, he's a stranger to the mizbeach because it has to be burned on the mizbeach. So that's not a shaila. He's for sure on the pasuk kol zar lo yechal kodesh. Keep coming by halav the kol tilya on the lav on the pasuk of kol tilya, because the problem is what's the din? Does the lav, meaning it says there's a mitzvah of aktara, you have to burn it. And it says only kol tiya. So is he over when it says loisa achel by a kohen who eats it? Is he also over aveda for not performing the mitzvah of haktara? So since we have the gzeda shava, so I should say, hey, if a kohen eats it, and we have the gzeda shava, so we should say that if he eats it, he's also over for not burning it on the mizbeach. Says Gemara, I tashma, I'll answer you.
Which mikra are we talking about?
But all the menachis, we want to know all the menachis that the emurim are burnt on the mizbeach. Are you even loisach for not eating it? I said the reverse.
That's what he meant. What kind of emurim?
You have a mincha that's I'm sorry, that the kmitza, or you have
Talking about a mincha, right?
all kabbanis that are burnt. It doesn't have to be anything that you mechuyev to anything that you mechuyev to burn on the mizbeach, right? Are you over on loisachel? We should learn now from the Gezerah Shabbat kol for all kabbanis. So Ravana said to Ravina, Tashma, come in here and I'll answer you. The Tanya we learned in the Braisa, Rabbi Lezer kol shehu b'kol tiyah, anything that's included in the command that it has to be burnt on the mizbeach, right? Comes the like it says, Chol minchas koyin kol tiyah loisachel litein loisas al achilasei. It's Mefurish number I said the love of loisachel is going to be he's going to be over, even though it doesn't say loisachel. He's going to be over.
What's the Lashon litin?
Anything that is there's a tzida that should be burned,
and he eats it.
He's going to be over on loisachel.
Kol gives you that like.
Kol of the gzeda shava. We make a gzeda shava to minchas chavitin.
What's a chmitza, Rabbi?
No.
Kmitza is a scoop that he takes out of the flour and he puts it on burns it on the mizbeach. I don't know if he's referring to. Really, maybe he's only referring to minchas. I'm not sure. No, loidak al mincha. It's not only in a mincha. He's also going to be over on lo yochel. Anything that's burned, there's a lashon haktorah of kolil. He's going to be over on lo yisachel. Any carbon that's burned. Okay. So
where does that stand?
By Shah Menachis, by all the other Menachis. It says Kolil also, but it doesn't say Kolil Toktar. It says Kolil Toktar only by Menes Chavitim. But we made a Gzeda Shava, and we learned out that all Kabbanis that are Kolil, there's also the Yisrael Leiseichel, and all the Leiseichel has a mitzvah of Kolil Toktar. Okay. In the Mishnah we learn Minchas Kohanim. A mincha of the 5 menachis of Nedava, that's written in the Pas Vayikra, and side the Minchas Chayta, which he's obligated to bring. Or Minchas Kohen HaMashiach is the Chavitim that he brought, one in the morning and one in the afternoon every day. Or Minchas Nesachim that comes with a carbon behema, or he brought the Minchas Nesachim on its own. La Mizbeach, it's all burned to the Mizbeach. The Ein Bahem La Kahanim, and these Menochos, Kahanim have 0. In this we see the strength of the Mizbeach is greater than the strength of the Kahanim. Shtei halechem, the lechem aponim, the shtei halechem that you bring on Chag HaShavuos, and the lechem aponim which is from Shabbos to Shabbos, that the Kahanim, the Kahanim all ate it. The Ein Bahem, there was not one, even a little portion that went Lamizbeach. Ubazeh, in these two, Yafa Koyach HaKahanim and Koyach HaMizbeach. The Kahanim had a mila over the Mizbeach. They got everything, and the Mizbeach got nothing. Yeah, you know the story with somebody who got divorced. They wanted to get divorced. They were married for 50 years. They came to the Rav. And the Rav says, listen, Mizbeach married the Mayas. If it's forgotten, Mizbeach married the Mayas. It's gonna tear and cry. He says, "For 50 Jahre habe ich gewöhnt, soll der Mizbeach bleiben ein bisschen." Okay, frag die Mutter.
Again the 50 Jahre. Again the 50.
Yeah, frag die Mutter. Suleika, is there no other kabbanis like this? Laika, Oila, what are you saying? There's only these kabbanis that all go to Hashem, and there's no other kabbanis. We have the Oila. The Oila is all burnt to Hashem. Says you want to know? It doesn't all go to Hashem. The hide, the skin of the behemoth goes to the kahanim. Okay. Well, the whole Eilos it's all burnt on the Mizbeach. Says you want to know? There's a part that goes to the Kohen. Mura v'neitza. You meant the crop with the feathers. So you remember the crop with the feathers that we learned in the Yimara before, that the Kohen had to be a professional pitcher, because he had to throw it to the next to the Mizbeach, where when it went to the floor would swallow it. That was the deshin. There was a pile of ash that was also put on the side of Mizbeach in the Azara. There was a pile of ash outside the Azara, outside Yerushalayim. The one right next to the Mizbeach, whatever ash they put over there, it was like a miracle every time. The floor would open and swallow it, or it wouldn't open. It would swallow it. I don't know if it opened. It swallowed it. Anyway,
those ashes,
it's just this, took it into the ground and swallowed it.
They didn't have sanitation at that time.
Huh?
Didn't have the sanitation.
No, it was they were ahead of their
It
times.
was everything the natural.
Yeah. In fact, we know the Nesachim. The whole Nesachim went to the Mizbeach. Says it didn't go on the Mizbeach. Lishis and Ozli. There were two cones. In the cones there were holes. And there were two pipes that went down to the Mizbeach that went to the streams on the bottom. So it didn't go on the Mizbeach, it was on the Mizbeach. In fact, the what is this that the Tan is learning? Bozu. With this, the Koyach HaMizbeach is greater than... what are you coming to teach us? I mean, you want to tell us only these kabbanis. Which not? Which one would... Which one were you coming to tell me to exclude something? What? Says you want to laugh in the Shmuel, but it's coming to exclude from Shmuel. Whenever it says Bazu, it means to exclude something. The Shmuel said, "I'm Nadiv Yayin." Somebody who gives an adava Yayin on its own. Nevi'ah, he brings it to the Mikdash, and what does he do? What do they do with the wine? Umezalvei al gabi ha'ishim, and they pour it over the fire. The fire would sizzle. So l'cheira, you see that the wine was put on the Mizbeach, right? And it wasn't put into... so you see, it was put on the Mizbeach, and it wasn't poured into these cones. So he says, Kamash Malan, he comes to teach us, no, the Lashisin Ozli. It wasn't poured on the fire like you thought that it went all to the Mizbeach. I would have thought that's one of the kabbanis that it went on the Mizbeach. It tells you, it went on the Mizbeach, but it went into the cones, which went down the pipes to the drain. So it never went on the Mizbeach. Messiah Leila Shmuel says, yes, we have a raya to Shmuel when it says, Bazeh Yafa, Dama Shmuel, Hamisnadi Shemen. Somebody who gives an adava Shemen, koimtza, he does a kmitza. So we learned before, how could you give a kmitza of shaman? It's gonna fall out of your hand. So they wait.
It's a scoop.
No, you scoop with your fingers, 3 fingers. How could you hold it? It will dissolve, it will fall out. So you wait till it becomes congealed.
It leaks out. It leaks out.
It leaks out. It's nothing. You can't even hold it. So you waited. You had it congealed, and then you made a kmitza. Abucha. Yeah.
What is a kamitza again, Rabbi? To scoop?
A scooping with your hand of the 3 fingers. Yes. Vishira the cholim. Very good. Okay, and the leftovers were eaten by the kahanim. So here you have a raya because he didn't count shemen amongst those that were burned completely on the mizbeach.
How does shemen congeal?
It could congeal. Why not? Yeah, it gets cold. It's cold. They put it in the freezer.
No,
It'll congeal.
Shabbos Zayis, it's your fridge that gets hot.
A fridge. That's what I told him.
Shabbos Zayis gets
Yeah,
hot.
it's not vodka. It's not alcohol. Shtei alach v'lechem hapanim. The shtei alach and the lechem hapanim. We said those two are eaten only by the kahanim, and the mizbeach had no share of it. There's no other karbanis that were only eaten by the kahanim and not by the mizbeach. There was the chat sa'if that chatos didn't go on the mizbeach. It was all eaten by the kahanim. I mean, you want to know there was something of the chat sa'if that went on the mizbeach. Ikadama, the blood of the chat sa'if was sprayed on the mizbeach. We know the shiraim of the lug of the shemen of a mitzvah went to the kahanim. Nothing onto the mizbeach. So you see, that all went to. So why didn't you count that one in the Mishnah as one of those that went only to the kahanim and not to the mizbeach? I mean, it's not the whole shemen went there. First of all, you had to spray 7 times oil, also, just like on the floor towards the mizbeach. And then they put part of it at nuchayzen, and the thumb, and then the bayan agloi. And then ash, there was the shirayim. So not everything went.
It wasn't too much left.
It wasn't all to the kain. There was not much left, right? In fact, my bazu, what are you coming to exclude with bazu? When it says bazu, it means excluding. To exclude from the mandama that says shtei alach ma'bayis mifnei atzmam. If the shtei alach had to be brought with the kivsei atzeres, and the blood of the kivsei atzeres was mata the shtei alach. But if he brought the shtei alach on its own, so there's Amanda Omar. Rabbi Akiva says we learned before that the shtei alach you have to burn. You can't eat it because you didn't have the kivsei atzeres to be mata. So the safe hasyon. So he's coming to exclude from Rabbi Akiva, and we hold like Rabbi Yosei that midaraisa you could eat it. So only midarabbanan they were goyzer. That the kahanim were able to eat the shtei alach, even though it wasn't brought with the kivsei atzeres midaraisa. They had a gzeira we learned before.